Hey everyone, welcome to Tickets to Travel, the business of travel experiences. Have you ever decided to take a trip because you saw such an amazing rate at a luxury hotel? I know I have, and you probably asked yourself, how did the company get this amazing deal? On today's episode, you'll meet James Murray. James is an advisor for BoomPop on hotel supply and connectivity. He has also held luxury hotel supply roles at brands like Luxury Escapes and Secret Escapes. We will talk about what these online travel brands are looking for in terms of rates and connectivity to contribute to your last minute or very spontaneous travel experiences. Since James is currently advising BoomPop, what is BoomPop? BoomPop offers an extensive range of services for booking, planning, and managing offsites, presidents clubs, and executive retreats. They source group rates and availability from lifestyle and luxury hotels, while their dedicated event managers handle all vendor bookings and payments. Make sure to subscribe where you listen to podcasts. Stay with us because Tickets to Travel starts now. Welcome to Tickets to Travel. I am Mario Dwine, and we are talking about the business of travel experiences. Today, we have James Murray, who is an advisor for hotel supply acquisition, and he's worked at places like BoomPop, Luxury Escapes, and Secret Escapes. James, welcome to Tickets to Travel.
Hey, Mario. Thanks for having me today. This is exciting to talk all things travel tech.
Of course. Travel tech is the baseline for it, and especially when you start to look at travel experiences in general. And, usually it's about tickets and plus a hotel, air, whatever it might be to really kind of create the experience. And you are a specialist with luxury hotels in particular, right?
Yeah, that's right. I've spent a lot of time with some of the major brands. So when you're talking about a Montage, Pendry, Auberge, Belmond, One Hotels, those are all in my wheelhouse. So all the luxury hotels, beautiful spas, golf courses.
You got a tough life, man. You got a tough life.
You have to do site visit.
Right. You have to do a site inspection. I used to do them too. They're amazing. It's probably the first couple times I went to a spa, I experienced that. And then I became like a spa guy, right? Because back then I was like, guys, don't go to spas. And then the hotels would be like, be quiet, please come to our spa and figure it all out. And then it becomes like a regular occurrence now. So you must have kind of similar experiences. Was there one in the recent years? You were at Luxury Escapes. Was there one that stuck out to you that you said, hey, I got to come back here with the family, or I got to come back here by myself?
Yeah, one property that really was exceptional, and you wouldn't normally think of it, but it's the Rosewood at Baja Mar. This is Rosewood. So at Baja Mar, they've got a number of hotels. They have the SLS, they have a Grand Hyatt, but we were able to actually stay at the Rosewood Baja Mar. It was actually for ILTM travel show. And my wife and my daughter came down, so they were able to experience a lot of the hotel while I was working.
Yep.
Typical travel family stuff. They had an amazing spa. The service was like exceptional. Walking through the Grand Hyatt, you kind of have this experience of sort of a hotel for everybody, kind of very, very generic. And then you literally step through the doors of the Rosewood, and it's a totally different environment. Great food, the service, everyone's there to greet you. The rooms are awesome. The pool, they had we're big on the kids clubs because we take our child. She's 9, Olivia. She travels and she's always big on the kids spa. She wants the kids robes, kids slippers, things like that. So,
and not to mention, you're in the Bahamas, which is a beautiful destination overall. So I mentioned them briefly at the beginning here, but why don't you walk us through your career from the hospitality perspective? I know you started out early on at the property, but let's talk about how you started to really interface with certain brands of hotels. Maybe when you started at Travelzoo, or maybe it was Secret Escapes when we worked together. Walk me through that a bit.
Yeah. So I was fortunate. My first job out of college, my job title was so I actually worked for a hotel. I had a plan to go work for Accenture, and a hospitality recruiter found me and said, hey, James, you ever look at working in hotels? Long story short, go have an interview. They're like, hey, you'll live in the hotel, the chef will prepare your meals, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, say no more. Yeah. So learned everything really early on from ownership. And that led to going on to open other properties. One property that I was particularly proud of is Dunton Hot Springs in Colorado, which is a 5-star mountain resort just south of Telluride. Gorgeous property. Opened that. And what led me to online travel, I used this site at the time called Luxury Link. So Luxury Link was this site that enabled you to run packages as a luxury hotel. As a luxury property, you didn't want anything to do with an Orbitz or Travelocity. You really wanted to have this kind of safe space where there were other nice hotels doing the same thing you're doing, which kind of led to this evolution of the curated collection, with Jet Setter, with Secret Escapes and Luxury Escapes. It's all this private member only wheelhouse.
Right, right. And so what do you think are the differences, I guess, working with a luxury property versus a 3.5 star, 3-star DoubleTree or Hotel Indigo, things of that nature? Like what are the big differences? I think maybe from a revenue management perspective, like what are the things that they're looking for, since this is probably your day to day?
Yeah, they're looking for a couple of things. So obviously high ADR, right? So that means they're on their base rooms, their base room category, that standard king, a standard queen. They really don't want to do a lot of like discounting with that. Those rooms are designed for passive people on the internet to buy rooms at the hotel's best price. Where the hotels really want to gain traction is selling of suites and upgraded room categories.
Right.
Suites can be up to 2 or 3 times the price or more of an upgraded of a base room category. The other thing they're trying to do is sell as a bundled package. So they want to sell their spa. They want to sell you romantic dinner for 2 on the beach. They want all that incremental revenue that's surrounding the purchase. They're really expecting to see those guests come on site and spend really 2 to 3 times the room rate added in add-on extras.
Makes complete sense. So all of these brands cater to a certain audience, a certain demographic, and you're just matching up supply with demand, right?
That's right.
Putting the right tourist or the right person into the right property. The Skift State of Travel report came out last week or so, and there was a couple of different trends about luxury hotels and some of the shifts that they're looking at, and how, essentially over the pandemic, there was a huge rise, right? After the big dip, there's a big rise in ADR, and demand was happening. So as of now, in 2024, you've now seen sort of this plateau back to 2019 levels. Are you seeing the same thing with some of the conversations you're having with these luxury hotels?
Yeah, 100%, Mario. These hotels are seeing record-breaking days, day after day. So it's become all that more important to optimize revenue from the ownership and revenue management perspective. We're looking at one of the newer terms is called TrevPAR. So total revenue per available room. So TrevPAR has become kind of the hot topic. We used to look at ADR and just more basic figures, and now the entire team is looking at TrevPAR, and that's accounting for all of those extra services, restaurant, golf courses, times. And some of the properties are even doing luxury car rentals now. So you can come on and have that Cadillac or BMW experience one day. I think the latest one that I'm a big fan of is the Stanley Ranch by Auberge in California. They have a Mercedes-Benz experience. So you can walk out in the lot and take advantage of one of 10 brand new Mercedes-Benz models and have a driving experience around Napa.
And so that becomes part of the package where you can just take the car? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, part of the package. Yep.
Wow. That's some of the things that we want to focus on here, is really the overall experience. You work for a company called BoomPop, which I think is an amazing name for a company, but it was based in corporate travel, corporate events, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that company and what they really focus on and what the value propositions to some of the hotels might be?
Yeah, absolutely. So BoomPop focuses on what we call SMEs, small, medium enterprise businesses. So these are typically companies that are newer. They tend to have less than 1,000 employees. And these companies don't have travel managers that work for them. They don't have event planners that work for them. Typically, you're talking to an executive assistant to the CEO for a company. And what they want to do is they want to have company offsites. They want to have sales incentive meetings for their sales teams. They want to have client gatherings. So what BoomPop does is organize and book and plan the total event for these companies. They source the hotel, and then they come up with the exact itinerary that the group is going to have while they travel. The key to that too is that BoomPop's doing all the negotiation. So BoomPop's not only saying, "Hey, we'll get you your event, but we'll also get you 30% off savings."
Interesting. And so they coordinate everything. They take all the components on, and so this is like incentive travel for a lot of corporations, right? So you're taking your top sales guys down. You're doing a buyout of a place and doing a full all hands type of meeting. And so that's kind of the sweet spot for you, for at least for Boom Pop at this point, right?
Yeah, total sweet spot. In terms of attendees, you're looking at really say 80 to 400 people is really the sweet spot in that side of the business. But it's growing really, really quickly. We've ventured in and gotten into pharmaceuticals. So there's a lot of these pharmaceutical shows where they pay for the doctors or the dentists to all come and get entertained. So the budgets are really high.
Yeah.
So that's the type of business that we're looking to pursue, are the high budget, a high end, the events that are totally tricked out. That's what Boom Pop's really good at, is delivering on this very high end, full service, but you get fun and creative event.
Yeah, I think you mentioned to me off mic at one point about a US Open package that you guys had put together for a company, and it was very, very high end. Do you remember the one I'm talking about?
We did, yeah. We booked a group of 20 people that came, and about half of the attendees were executives from the company. The other half were client customers, and they came to Boom Pop. They said, we want to go to a major sporting event. We don't really care what it is. And then we ended up getting them tickets. Well, not just tickets, but we got them in a VIP suite at the US Open. So, talking seafood towers, honeydews for everybody.
Right. They're just, 4 stars, 5 stars all the way for this.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. And didn't they fly down in a private jet somewhere afterwards?
Yep. They were actually heading down to the Mandarin Oriental on Canawan Island. So part of the deal was that they have their private jet. It was a company based in Pittsburgh, actually. So they were wanted to go to New York, do the US Open, and then basically go back to the airport and fly down for the rest of their C-suite executive trip. One of the hotels we love is the Mandarin on Canawan Island. They have their own runway. And in this case, we needed to have these are the kind of questions you get from people. We needed to have a runway that can accommodate a G6, which requires about 5,000 feet of runway. Canawan 6,000, so we are good to go.
Nice. They get the booking pretty easily. But yeah, it's amazing that you have all of that information, that data as the company, and you can make the right recommendations to that person who was ever coordinating that trip, which is amazing.
That's right. And we were able to get them a full buyout at the Mandarin Oriental. So Mandarin was happy. The client was incredibly happy that they were able to have this super high-end exclusive experience. They were taking their private chef along the whole way. The hotels tend not to let private chefs get involved, but now Mandarin, they're like, you want to bring your chef in? He becomes the executive chef for the week. Our team will support it.
Very cool. So, you're dealing with these luxury properties from a corporate perspective, but your previous role, you're working at Luxury Escapes, and even you kind of say this with Secret Escapes, where that was 2016, 2017 or so. What do you think has changed in terms of that model of luxury flash sales, or is there anybody really doing it at this point?
Thing with flash sales is that it tends to do really well when economies are uncertain. When travelers are looking for deals, they're in deals mode. So we're seeing that right now. And that was a trend we saw, in the mid 2000s with banks and, things are up and down all the time.
I remember.
So both travelers that are uncertain.
Yeah. So 2008, Lehman Brothers, economy crashes. What was born out of that was Groupon, Living Social, all these this guilt group where they would discount high-end goods and put it out for a limited time. And that's where a company like Jetsetter was born out of from a luxury travel perspective. So essentially, are you saying we're kind of getting into that mode right now, or at least it feels that way?
Yeah, it feels sort of similar, but the buying pattern of the customer has changed a bit. People are not couponers. They're not looking to go print out a voucher and take it to a hotel, but they are looking for things like added values. So if they can I could book a suite at the Rosewood Baja Mar, and I can get $100 spa credit. I can get dinner for 2 one night, and while booking that suite, the experience has become more important than anything else. So we're not just looking at $99 hotel rooms in Atlantic City. That segment, I'd say, is fairly stagnant. Where we are seeing a lot of growth is with the high-end experiences. And people they're not being cheap. They just want more value out of their experience. And they want to make sure that they're going to have the best time ever on their vacation. The other side of that is, now that everyone's remote, we're seeing this blended trip, leisure travel where
they're extending through the weekend. You're there to work in whatever destination. You extend through the weekend. You just chill and relax on the company's dime for the most part. But that's a big trend. You guys have seen that already at Boom Pop.
Yeah, and that's what you'll see there is let's take it back to those Jetsetter days. what would hotels say? Oh, we're good on Fridays and Saturday nights. It's Monday through Thursday where we need help.
Right.
Now hotels are able to move those Wednesdays, the Thursdays, and the Monday nights with long weekend packages with leisure travelers because they're flexible. So, and the people are like, oh, I can stay Monday night for half the price. Why not? So hotels are looking to merchandise that in a new way.
Yes, that makes complete sense. The Tickets to Travel podcast is always brought to you by Expo Travel. Expo Travel is experiences optimized travel, assisting B2B startups and companies with business development in online travel and entertainment ticketing distribution. If your company is looking for ways to boost revenue, increase average order values, or activate your member base with either travel or entertainment ticketing, contact the team at Expo Travel for a consultation today. Visit xpotravel.com. That's xpotravel.com for more information. Have you seen, and the other thing that we forget about, that was 12, 13 years ago, and that was probably the target millennials, and now you've got Gen Z. So have you guys looked at, or from your experience talking to the hotels every single day, have they ever commented on the differences of the generations? I mean, you mentioned a bit about it in terms of they're looking for experiences, and if you can have that at the hotel or it's around an event of some type, that's key. But do you hear anything from the hotels themselves about how Gen Z is a little bit different than a millennial or a Gen Xer like myself? I'm an old guy at this point, but what are you hearing from the hotels?
It's a good question, Mario. Certain hotels are very interested in Gen Z due to the tendency to share. They have a very social experience. They're sharing their entire travel path all the way from the airport, what they ate at the airport, how they're riding, what kind of car they got for their Uber, all the way to their room at the hotel. They're sharing it with all their friends. So hotels are really interested in that for let's say a media value, right? But if you talk to any of these luxury hotels like Four Seasons or Mandarin or something like that, they weren't millennials. Yep. So millennials are the coveted segment now for travel, and any of the luxury brands are all going to say, we have a major strategy around millennial travelers. And millennial travelers, the elder millennials, some of them are starting to move into DINK category, double income, no kids.
Right.
Because their kids are now getting old enough where they're like high school, some of them early, maybe some of them not really kind of going to college, but they also will travel with their family.
Millennials, LGBTQ couple as well, that it qualifies as being DINKs as well. So they have a lot of expendable income to really go crazy on the experiences and the upper room types, right, at a particular property.
Yeah, that's right. All segments welcome in the hotels. We really want to see, and in the luxury travel space, really targeted packages for all different people traveling with pets, LGBTQ. If there's cruises are another one that they're targeting millennial travelers. So they want to get cruises now want to get that millennial. They tended to always get this older traveler. Now cruises are after a new segment.
Got it. That makes sense. We worked together back at the Secret Escapes at one point, and then you also went on to work at Luxury Escapes. In your opinion, right? Secret Escape doesn't really operate in North America, and Luxury Escapes is an Australian company. What are some of the differences between those audiences that they sort of keyed in on? Are there anything that kind of sticks out in terms of your experience there? Because you're constantly selling this brand and the audiences to the luxury travel segment or luxury hotel segment. Were there any things that's kind of stuck out about each one of those brands?
Yeah, these markets are all totally different, Mario. So when you're having these conversations with hotels, the hotels want to say, who is your target market? What are you after? So at Secret Escapes, our big markets were UK, Germany, and the Nordics. And so you would see the UK customer is a bit more price conscious than the other markets. So Germans tend to be a little bit more of a splurge. Nordics tend to be wanting a high-end product. So think like Thompson Hotels. So higher end, but sort of also value. So you're getting a nice product in a Thompson, but it's not going to break the bank. Right. Australian travelers, I'd say, are somewhere in between. The thing with Australians is when they travel to the US, they're coming for like a month. So they'll book 5 or 6 hotels along the way.
Right. they love a 7-night stay,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
a 7 or 14 night free sort of promotion. And, they probably, I mean, they typically spend in the hotel too, right? Because they're basically there for a month, like you mentioned.
Yeah, and the Australian audience, they're barflies, so they're
Ah,
you can give them their daily drink voucher, and they'll be there like clockwork. So they're big F&B standard.
got it. So if you want to attract these particular markets, long stay promotions, F&B included. What about the room product? Are they typically staying in higher room categories, or they stay with standard?
They are at Luxury Escapes, we saw the most success with like 2 or 3 level upgraded rooms. So because they are staying for a longer period of time, they tend to want a bigger room. So something like a junior suite is really ideal for an Australian traveler. If you're thinking about what's happening with the rooms, they're shopping, so they're bringing things back. They're traveling for a long period of time, so they have big suitcases. They have a lot of stuff with them. So getting them into an upper room category is really key, and they will spend more. They'll pay more to get that product as well.
Now, I remember one of the old school stories when I was at Expedia a million years ago, when the shopping weekends would happen here in New York City. The hotel rooms were so cheap because of the currency conversion from pounds to dollars that the UK markets would buy an extra room. And they buy the extra room because they were going shopping, and they would keep all of the stuff that they bought in another room. And so it was like a 50% blowout sale, which, as an American, those are the highest ADR weeks in New York City. So it's really amazing how having that little bit of knowledge of each one of these global markets and the effect on luxury travel, one, but also just in hotel room rates, is really valuable to a lot of people. So it's interesting. As you've been advising and talking to other brands who want to get into this space, what are some of the key components of working with hotels? I mean, not just luxury, but hotels in general are a little bit of a different animal, especially if you're not used to travel distribution and you're maybe a different type of brand. What are some of the components that you feel that everybody should be armed with before they walk into their first meeting with a 5-star property?
Yeah, the biggest thing that you need to be in tune with is seasonality, especially in the U.S. market, is understanding what that hotel is going to be looking to do. Hotels, for example, in New York City during September and October, they're driving, as you mentioned, the highest rates they're going to drive all year. So it's not really an area they need to focus a lot on with their marketing. As I walk through the door, hey, look at me, I have a website with tons of demand. The hotel's going to say, where can we put that demand that's going to be the most valuable to us?
Yep.
So running seasonal promotions ahead of time, thinking about a book ahead window. So, hey, let's get that promotion out for the winter time during the summer when the hotel needs to book it, and you're going to sell those rooms ahead of time. It's very helpful for the hotels to really like capture the seasonality and the demand of a book.
Makes sense. What about non-refundable rates? Do they fight you a lot on that, or do they tend to want to participate in that?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of change around non-refundable rates in the past few years. What we see a lot of times now is what we call a semi-flex rate.
Okay.
So it gives the ability for someone to buy the hotel, and then they just need to cancel within some sort of extended cancellation period. So that might be tends to be something like 30 days or even 15 days. The hotels are more understanding of the need for people to be flexible with their travel. Flights have been a nightmare lately. So the ability for people to go in and just change because, the airline sent them a new flight pattern or new time is really important. I think it's also important to see with hotels and marketing during these seasonal periods, what rooms you're going to be using. So are you trying to put people into suites, or are you just going to use those base rooms? The base rooms do definitely help these sales pick up traction because they come in at a lower price point.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. I feel like you could always sell a revenue manager on a non-refundable rate as long as it was the right price, and that they could lay down a base so that they could make changes on top of that particular area of the hotel or allotment of the hotel. A lot of things that has changed from a flash sale perspective at all levels is really connectivity with each one of these hotels. And so I would suspect that is something that a brand should invest in, or at least understand, or maybe it's normal. It's just kind of taken. Do you find that a lot of brands that you're advising now are looking at connectivity as a priority for these hotels, or what are your thoughts there?
Absolutely. The staffing it continues to be a massive struggle at these hotels. And staffing is one thing. And then staffing with people who are willing to take reservations from a flash deal
Right.
is a whole nother animal.
Sure.
So we're seeing the ability to connect and have a live rate that's selling automatically into their system is really number one priority these days. So the days of, programming allocations, allocation-based sale with static rate, it's really challenging to do that outside of, let's say, a Mexican or a Caribbean where, rates and stuff don't really fluctuate that much. But as far as the connected deals go, it still is a great way to get deals because I can negotiate a 20 or 30% off derived rate. So all the rates, no matter how much they are discounted by a fixed amount. So we're talking, some of those rates are going to be like 129 all the way up to over 300 or 400, depending on day of week that you want to travel and exactly the season.
Yes, definitely. So, here on Tickets to Travel, we talk about merging entertainment and travel together. What I always like to ask my guests is what, if you had price was no issue, what is the perfect travel experience where it's a ticketed event and a hotel room? What would you do? Or if you could build one yourself, what would you do? Would it be with your family or would you just head to Vegas? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my personal perfect experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. It would probably be to something, a multi-stop trip combining like Africa, Mauritius, Durban, and do something pretty long haul. We've done a lot of short haul trips this past year, so I think we're ready to go a little bit further. But been wanting to do the Mauritius bit and maybe combine with Seychelles and then maybe a little safari in Africa. That's on my bucket list right now.
Well, I mean, that's like a couple months. What you're talking about, that's huge. What about events? What are some of the bucket list events that you want to get in on?
Yeah, next year I'd really love to go to the Masters. And so we actually at Boom Pop, we had an ability to get tickets to the Masters, which was really cool. So that's a tough event to get into, but if you can get tickets to it, it's short of going to a Taylor Swift concert.
Got it. Yeah.
For my daughter anyway.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. She comes up a lot in this show. Just because of her sheer ability to drive, hotel room rates and airfare and everything else associated to that. I haven't done this in a while, and I haven't done it in any other episode, but I'm just curious if you play a little bit of a game with me in terms of lightning round when it comes to travel experiences. I'm curious to see your very quick answers. What is your favorite hotel in Las Vegas?
The Wynn.
The Wynn. Why?
The Wynn is a total elevated experience from Vegas. So going to the Wynn, you're not just getting Vegas, but you're getting the Wynn version, which, everything from the smells to the food, the whole total experience. Wynn has their own creative department where they design and manufacture all of their own supplies for the hotel. It is total next level experience.
Got it. How about this? Carry on or check baggage?
Carry on.
Window or aisle seat?
Aisle. I'm tall.
Hotel room must have in the room?
Coffee.
Really? You actually use that coffee machine in the room?
Change my answer. An espresso.
Oh, okay. Well, luxury travel. I get it. Your favorite airport?
LaGuardia.
Really? Well, they did do like a $5 billion renovation.
So much better now. It was my worst airport.
Best hotel amenity?
Spa day uses.
Oh, day use spa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Most overrated tourist attraction?
The Empire State Building.
No offense to anybody from the Empire State Building who's listening. Best travel hack?
Using the using the Deloitte & Touche corporate discount code on Marriott.
Okay, so you get access to that. That's cool. Jet lag cure.
Yeah. Cocktail.
A little bit of the hair of the dog, right?
That's right.
Favorite thing to do on in-flight entertainment?
Use my special, I don't have it in front of me, but use my special iPhone holder that charges and props up your iPhone so you have a comfortable viewing angle.
Can't live without it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Hotel or Airbnb?
Hotel all the way.
I kind of knew the answer with that one, but I thought I'd ask anyway.
I like my service.
Got it. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm a hotel guy, 100%. Favorite travel app? It's a good one.
Kayak.
Really? So you do the meta price comparisons on airfare and hotel?
Mainly for air. Kayak allows you to use all sorts of different air filters. And I've found over and over again, hundreds of dollars difference in some of the flights I can find on Kayak versus something I can find on my own.
Got it. Well, James, thank you for your time today. Everyone, please look up James Murray as an advisor for acquisition for hotel supply and anything in online travel, really. James, I'm sure we can find you on LinkedIn and other places. Once you can get in touch with Tickets to Travel, we could also point you in the right direction. So thanks again for your time, and we'll see you on the next one.
Always a pleasure, Mario. Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
The Tickets to Travel podcast is always brought to you by Expo Travel. Expo Travel is experiences optimized travel, assisting B2B startups and companies with business development in online travel and entertainment ticketing distribution. If your company is looking for ways to boost revenue, increase average order values, or activate your member base with either travel or entertainment ticketing, contact the team at Expo Travel for a consultation today. Visit xpotravel.com. That's xpotravel.com for more information.